Hmm. So I was inspired by another YouTuber, Sammy Vanek. One of his videos popped up on my feed, and he was himself. And I realized I miss doing videos, and the quality of this is not what I want it to be. I want to create beauty in this world, and often I don't know how. There's this sense of wonder and terror, curiosity, overwhelm, at being here. And it's so bizarre to be here, isn't it? Like when I really slow down, I'm sitting in the backyard right now, being. I went on a walk, I was feeling a lot of terror. And a quote that comes to me very frequently is a quote by Carlos Castaneda, where he says the key is to balance the wonder of being alive with the terror of being alive. And I feel like I live on that edge all the time. And I'm sure many can relate. Like the sheer majesty of existence. And then I'll have these moments of lucidity of like how powerful I am, and that on a spiritual level I'm floating in the cosmos, and all of this is in some sense illusory, and this deep feeling of unsafety will overtake me. And for a lot of the last year and a half, that has led to a feeling of suicidal ideation. And what I'm starting to understand is it's the ego trying to make sense of this, and the ego is becoming aware of its own futility, inability to control. So it's like the only thing to do, I feel like the only reason we're embodied here is to express ourselves. And I feel the best when I'm doing that. Right now, as I'm speaking, I'm feeling grounded. My body is alive with sensation, but I'm able to slow down and choose my words. I was gonna say carefully, not carefully, consciously. And I feel connected to everything. And I've been fascinated with mental illness and bipolar, and I want to talk more about these things: the nervous system, trauma, titration, somatic experiencing, everything. I know a large part of my path is learning how to feel safe and to help other people, because I do believe that people who suffer from diagnoses of bipolar and feel suicidal, they're ultimately struggling to feel safe with the immensity of the sensitivity that they experience. And my understanding of bipolar is feeling so alive, connected to everything, everything. Going for a walk and getting blasted with synchronicities and experiencing this deep, deep, inexplicable somatic experience of oneness. And for a while that feels good. There's a sense of stillness, there's a sense of peace. And then some aspect of trapped energy, of trauma, of identity gets triggered and becomes aware of like, oh my God, well, if I'm one with everything, then I don't actually exist. Or I'm afraid of the unknown. Or if I become one with everything, then how can I plan? How can I stay safe? And so then I believe there's an oscillation to the extreme other end of the spectrum, which is like, instead of being completely open to everything, it's like an intense closing off. And that's often what I feel like is the kind of the mania and the depressive ping pong pendulum of bipolar. I also feel like it's related to a dysregulated nervous system, a lot of unprocessed emotions. As I almost just puked. That's funny. As I said, unprocessed emotion, there's my stomach, my solar plexus being like, yeah, you got some shit here, bro. Anyways, I really, my main intention with this video was to, one, express myself because I could feel that I want to talk. And I'm like, well, do I go out in downtown? Do I call a friend? Like, no, I just want to talk. So I went on this long walk and I was talking to myself a lot, like soothing myself, becoming my own best friend. That's part of my journey, is like being comfortable alone. And I lost my train of thought. That's my intention with this video, is to just say life is fucking nuts. It is all of the things, like it literally is everything. It's beautiful, it's horrifying, it's pleasurable, it's painful, it's clear, it's confusing. And to the mind, that seems insane because the mind is always trying to like make sense of things, but it's all of it. It just is. And I feel like that's what the dark night of the soul is about. At least it was for me, is like the part of me that is trying to control and make sense of things is dissolving. And then like there's a purging that happens of fear, of anger, of grief. I actually feel like I'm gonna throw up right now. That could be part of it. Continued purge. But it's weird because I've never felt more grounded and clear in my life than where I'm at right now. And the experiences I've been having externally have been continuing to become more joyful, more playful, more expansive, and more free. And then also I'm experiencing more terror and fear and suffering at the same time. It's like I have this tattoo on my forearm of like a tree with roots and branches, and it's like that Carl Jung quote about, you know, a tree can't go to heaven unless its roots go to hell. And it's like, fuck, man, it's tiring. It's tiring being here. And I'm learning to be alone. That's a huge part of my journey. It's finding safety and soothing by myself, and finding ways to be okay being alone and to take care of myself and to regulate my nervous system. And then I also know that like I experience so much joy and purpose in connecting with others. It's a paradox because I've been gifted a powerful ability to connect to anyone, a powerful gift of charisma and humor and compassion. And so it's very it feels very paradoxical, where I fucking love people so much, and then I also love being alone, and I like need to be alone. I struggle with feeling so connected and alive and excited and joyful, but then feeling ungrounded. And then I'll swing back to the other end of the spectrum, where it's like I'm trying to find some sense of stability and grounding, but then I just close off, and then I spin in my mind, and I get dark, and I feel suicidal and depressive. And so I'm continuing to find ways to feel more balanced. And I've been stable, fairly stable financially for the first time in a long time, doing gardening work and getting ideas for ways that I can support myself financially. And it's fascinating. It's like the more that I actually come into my body, the more pain there is. But then there's also more joy and more empowerment and more clarity and more strength. And I was watching this scene with this beautiful woman that I've been seeing. There's a scene from X-Men Days of Future Past where, and I'm not a big X-Men person at all. I actually don't think I've seen more than one or two of the movies. I just know the scene. It got me through like extreme suicidality the last year and a half. But it's Professor X visiting his future self, and Patrick Stewart's character, which is Xavier in the future, tells him that it is the greatest gift of the X-Men to bear suffering without breaking. And that really keeps me going. And I believe we get stronger as we go. It's like our hearts can hold more joy and more pain and more terror and more grief. And our only role is to find a way to embrace it. We don't have to like love every minute of it, although that would quote unquote be the ideal, is loving it. Like Matt Kahn has that book, Whatever Arises, love that. Can I love the nausea I'm feeling right now? Can I love the shoulder tension? Can I love the anxiety and the fear? Maybe I'm doing the best I can. Can I also just like allow it? That's been a huge thing. Is I've had extreme anxiety my whole life, been terrified of everyone and everything. And my practice is just continuing to live with the anxiety present, like not letting it paralyze me like it used to. Wednesday, I went down into the city and I was doing an opening practice for our ecstatic dance community here, and also the opening circle, as the usual facilitator was not there. And I was feeling just this terror, like pure terror, pure adrenaline running through my body, like I wanted to jump out of my skin. If this was me several months ago, I would have immediately gone to the hospital or like taken a bunch of benzodiazepines. It was just insane. But I found this video by Teal Swan where she talked about anxiety. It was really sweet. And she said that you just let it be there, because a lot of it is survival energy from our ancestors. So she used this example, and it feels true for me too. She's like, oh, my family was the flight family. Like we would run from everything. And I know that running and freezing and appeasing, there's the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. It feels like the fear patterns in my ancestry have been a combination of freezing and like shutting down and hiding, fawning, so dissociating, giving myself away, self-abandoning to appease the people around me, and then running, flighting. And what I've learned is to just let those feelings of terror be there. Notice the desire to do one of those things. So sometimes there's a desire to run away, to avoid. Like if there's an event that I really want to go to, in the past I would have avoided it. But now I almost can't do it anymore, because if I don't go, the anxiety just gets so intense that like I want to fucking die. So there's no choice. But if the flight response comes up, I go, okay, I notice I want to run away, I want to avoid, but I'm going to do it anyway. If the freeze response comes up and I feel frozen, what I've learned to do is there are certain things I've done, like if I can touch myself, giggity, um, like even just like touching my stomach or my neck or just moving a little bit of energy often will help get me out of the freeze. Sometimes it's just like forcing myself to start walking or go for a walk. And then the fawn one can be tricky because that one can be really subtle, where I'm appeasing someone else or overly apologizing. But with that one, it's helped to take deep breaths and be as honest as I can without needing someone to rescue me, or appeasing them, or hiding what I'm really experiencing. So like speaking out more for my boundaries. But I would love to. Anyways, I notice I'm getting a little fatigued and thirsty, and my body needs some nourishment. But I just wanted to record this. It's been a long time, and this is a topic that I'm fascinated with, and I love talking about it. The trauma responses, the nervous system, feeling safe, mental illness, all of these things. Just being a really, really, really fucking sensitive being on this planet and feeling insane and overwhelmed and happy to be here, and also cursing it, like the paradox that I'm sure many of us experience. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm inadvertently flipping you guys off, so all right, much love. No, that sounds cheesy. How do I want to end this? May each of us, myself included, continue to experience deepening levels of acceptance, equanimity, play, courage, and freedom as we navigate this experience. And may we feel safer and safer in our bodies, and more trusting each day, each moment, each breath. See you soon.